If you need money and gold, then you are in the right place. Now you will learn how to get 100 gold bars and $10,000 in just 10 minutes. Tenetas with you, and let's get started.
Hello.
Of all the existing methods of gold farming, in my opinion, this will be the best farm. And now you will understand why. As you can see, I am standing at Valentine Station. From here, you need to go to this place, in the Citadel Rock location. So let's go. We are in right place. It took me 40 seconds to get to the farm location from Valentine. That's why this farm method is the best. Remember how long it takes to get to Lake Isabella? Bard's Crossing and Henniganstead. If you forgot dynamite, after 2 minutes you will return to the farming place with dynamite. Okay, now you need to spawn the chest in this place. You should have the Citadel Rock treasure map. Open this map until you feel a vibration. It means that the chest has spawned. Now let's go blow up the chest. Place the dynamite on the chest. I wait for my partner to take his place. Okay, now ignite the dynamite and go. Get on the horse and I will show you the correct trajectory for running. Go to this sign. And now to this place. This will be the first mark. Remember this place. Follow the minimap. After the first mark, the yellow icon should disappear. The second mark will be these bushes. You need to run along this trajectory. That's how I do it. To get the maximum result, you need to run for 10 minutes. To be precise, you need to run 95 laps. You don't have to count each lap. I have already done it for you and converted into minutes. Now return to the chest. I appeal to the cowboys of the Wild West who have not subscribed yet. The channel already has a lot of interesting content that is constantly updated, so do not hesitate to subscribe. Before opening the chest, don't forget to change the map. Now collect the reward. If you did everything right, you should get at least 90 gold bars and $7,000. And now some advice from me. These tips apply not only to this spot. Use them to all others. Change the session after every third farm. If you don't change the session, you will get less gold bars. If you did everything right and got 1 or 10 gold bars, change the session. Even if you just started, you could get into a session in which someone has already farmed before you. You know, when you just come to Lake Isabella and the chest already there, and you haven't opened the map yet. This means that you got into a session where someone just farmed. If you got 60 to 70 gold bars in 10 minutes, it means that you shortened the running trajectory. Or you are running slower than me in a video. In this case, run for 12 to 13 minutes and be sure to follow the trajectory. If you are prevented from farming by other players, you can always create a solo session for yourself and your teammate by using the poker table. For those who don't know how to do it, I leave a hint. If you moved away from the chest and the yellow sign does not disappear from the minimap, you need to change the session. This sometimes happens. Well, I'm already approaching 100 gold bars. Now we look at the result. I hope you liked the glitch, and I deserve a comment and like from you. Thanks! As a result, in 10 minutes of farming, I got 109 gold bars and almost $9,000. And I repeat, this is not a solo glitch. When you farming, your teammate should stay near the chest all the time, and he does not need to open the map. If you want to know how to match outfits or how to get under the map, click on the picture.